CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Brendan Purdy.
We think we go a long way of reducing the commute times in rural Alberta in a really safe way.
Tonight on CTV News, the need for speed. The province considers increasing the speed limit on some Alberta highways. Good evening and thanks for joining us. The province has launched an online survey to gather feedback on raising the speed limit to 120 kilometers an hour on some rural highways. It would be limited to divided highways and wouldn't include low-speed segments of roads that run through urban areas or First Nations lands. The transportation minister says right now he's not considering changing speeds on either ring roads, either here in Edmonton or in Calgary.
Matching design engineered speeds on rural divided highways with the actual speed limit to be 120 is something that we think would go a long way of reducing the commute times in rural Alberta in a really safe way, with it being only on divided highways.
Not all frequent highway users are keen on this idea. The president of the Towing and Recovery Association of Alberta is concerned about safety.
We work on Highway 2 between the airport and Edmonton, and that's one of the busiest stretches in the capital region. And we've had our trucks hit several times. We've had our staff members hit, and we've added blue lights to our trucks to make them more visible. But that being said, we're still noticing some people not slowing down as they go past us. And it's concerning if they're going to jump the speed limit because they're already not slowing down, so they're just going to be going faster now.
In response, the province says it's committed to balancing efficiency with safety. Now, Alberta isn't the first province to attempt a speed limit bump up to 120 clicks an hour. In 2014, BC raised some sections of their highways by 10 kilometers an hour, and 4 years later, it reversed that decision for 570 kilometers of road. The Premier says she'll lead an 11-person cabinet committee to address issues with class size and complexity. The group also aims to create a new policy on inclusive education. As CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports, one local disability advocate fears it'll lead to segregated classrooms.
We have had a challenging start to the 25-26 school year.
That is how the Premier describes the recent 3-week-long Alberta-wide teachers' strike, which her government ended in unprecedented fashion using the notwithstanding clause of the Constitution. The province is now creating a new cabinet committee to address concerns it couldn't iron out through collective bargaining with teachers.
This committee will not spend months just to provide recommendations. The time for recommendations has passed, and the time for actions is now.
Overflowing classrooms with many students who require extra attention is one of the core issues that led teachers to strike. Part of the cabinet committee's mandate is to help develop new inclusive education policy. Spokesperson for Inclusion Alberta worries the province is on a path back to segregated classrooms for students with complex needs.
I think that a lot of parents feel like their kids are considered the problem. And that's unfortunate.
Trish Bowman is frustrated her group isn't on the committee, despite a pledge from the education minister to consult inclusion advocates. She says the research on inclusive learning is clear.
It's been recognized for decades that it produces superior outcomes educationally and socially for all children.
The Alberta Teachers Association says the government's commitment to fast action is proof teachers have been heard. However,
there will be a level of mistrust by teachers as we go into this.
The province is giving school boards 2 weeks to provide data on class sizes and student needs. President Jason Schilling says that won't be an issue.
Boards have been collecting this data. It's just government chose not to collect it and report on it.
The government is also setting up a teacher council outside the committee, which Minister Nicolaides plans to consult frequently, a role the Teachers Association says it already plays. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Following our first real snowfall of the year, RCMP are asking the public to avoid travel unless necessary due to poor driving conditions. Snowfall throughout the day melted on the pavement in Edmonton and the surrounding areas, which has now left our roads frozen with ice. These icy conditions have led Parkland RCMP to advise against driving again unless it's necessary. The worst affected areas include Devon, Spruce Grove, and Stony Plain. Some local businesses are helping a new city council, or hoping rather, with an old problem. They say closed streets are keeping customers away. CTV's Evan Kenny has more on the construction and what might be a possible solution.
Traffic flows along Jasper Avenue downtown, but when cars try to head north on 105th Street, they hit a standstill. 105th goes down to one lane north of Jasper because of construction on the Coast Hotel.
We need to continue investing in our city, and construction is part of that.
One block over, 106th Street is closed between Jasper and 102nd Avenue due to LRT drainage work. 102nd is only open to eastbound traffic.
I don't understand how the city plans out traffic flow for around here.
Local businesses say the construction is costing them money. Custom Orthopedics parking lot has limited access.
We've had a number of patients call us saying, I'm sorry, I just can't get in there. We're not coming today. So we're losing business just because of the traffic situation.
Tim Moffat says he feels like the store is being neglected by the city.
It's very frustrating. We pay our taxes and we expect a little bit of help for this kind of stuff. They keep talking about, let's revitalize the downtown area. Let's get people back down here. But they make it difficult for people to get here and to enjoy the area.
Custom Orthopedic and other businesses went to City Council multiple times asking for help during this construction. Now, the last City Council voted against this 3 separate times. Councillor Ann Stevenson hopes this is something the new council can revisit.
I think looking even at how our tax assessment works during significant construction projects would be a good approach.
The drainage work is expected to last 3 months. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
After more than a year of construction, Edmonton's newest downtown park is now complete.
3, 2, 1, O'Damon!
O'Damon Park, named after its ward, is located off Jasper Avenue between 106th and 108th Street. The park replaces gravel parking lots. The city says the project has helped attract private development. One apartment tower next to it was recently finished, and there's more applications for the neighboring lots. The park cost the city $48.6 million.
I remember when we approved it about 8 years ago saying, oh, you're going to spend millions of dollars on a park. Is that really worth it? Literally what we heard today, about 1,600 units of new residential development are happening because of this park.
The park includes a hill for tobogganing, an off-leash dog park, and a pavilion with public washrooms. After weeks of uncertainty, a staple of Edmonton's food scene has a new home and a new outlook on the future. Continental Treat will reopen tomorrow at the German Club in Southeast Edmonton. CTV's Amanda Anderson reports.
After a bankruptcy and abrupt eviction, Sylvester Barocca thought his restaurant Continental Treat was done for good after 40 years of operation.
I don't think I can find words for that because that was my biggest worry.
But now he's sitting in the new location for Continental Treat, located at the German-Canadian Cultural Association on Roper Road.
We're thrilled to work with the German Club. You know, it's they accept us like family, and we're just very grateful that they did reach out to us.
When the association's vice president, Frank Frizacker, heard about Continental Treat's challenges, they struck a deal for it to move into the restaurant space here.
Very excited to have Sylvester and his team, the Continental Treat name associated with us here at the German Club.
Both the association and restaurant have struggled since the pandemic and see this as a way to not only help each other survive, but thrive for several more decades.
But how do we get Continental Treat's loyal customer base to be enjoying wonderful food and drink and come and see our club and see everything that we have to offer and all of the activities and new initiatives that we are undertaking. So we'll have a new audience for that.
The majority of our customers were from Europe, especially like Poland, Germany, Austria, and so on. So we thought it would be like a perfect fit.
Continental Treat will have the same menu, and its hours will be similar to what it had before.
So it's going to be gluten-free friendly till we get certified.
Food prep is already happening.
We're more excited than nervous, because we just want to serve our customers.
Continental Treat is set to open in its new home tomorrow. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
An Edmonton soldier will play a special role in this year's Remembrance Day ceremony in Ottawa. Sergeant Kevin Dang will be a part of the Remembrance Day Century program. 11 members of the Canadian Armed Forces, along with 1 member of the RCMP, were nominated to participate. The honor of distinction is based on criteria such as deployment experience, community involvement, physical fitness, and record of conduct. During the ceremony, Dang will lead the Sentry Group, serving as Sentry Commander.
Being selected, it's a huge, profound honor. It's a huge responsibility. It represents the highest honor and privilege to lead the Sentries in paying respects to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Dang has been serving with Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry since 2014. He was deployed to Latvia 2 separate times in 2023 and 2024. Victims of impaired driving are reminding people to plan ahead for a ride home, especially as we head into the holiday season. Mothers Against Drunk Driving launched its Red Ribbon campaign at Edmonton City Hall earlier today. It's encouraging people to show their commitment to sober driving by placing a red ribbon or decal on their cars. The organization says impaired driving still kills hundreds and injures thousands every year here in Canada. In 2020, an impaired driver struck another vehicle head-on, going the wrong way on a divided highway. 2 of Morgan Maltby's friends died, and she spent 8 months in hospital.
I think a lot of people think this could never happen to me or that just doesn't happen, but it can, and it can happen to anybody. And mothers should never lose children. No one should ever lose somebody from such a careless act.
You can get a red ribbon or decal at the Mad Canada website. Road safety advocates are hoping people will put the brakes on unsafe winter driving habits. They hope people will take caution and consider different tires. CTV's Nariman Issa has more on the difference winter tires can make, especially on slick roads.
Winter tires are being put on this car just in time for the first big snowfall of the season.
And we had a lot of those proactive people through October kind of calling for the seasonal changeovers. And as this first snowfall hit, the phones exploded.
Cliff Turner owns Shire Tire, a mobile tire changing service. He says he's seeing more drivers inquire about winter tires.
Winter tires really are the king when we get into the extreme situations where we've got that extreme cold, the ice and the snow.
Turner says winter tires should be changed out every 5 seasons or so. He says the tire industry is competitive, so manufacturers are constantly trying to outmaneuver one another.
Always just that little bit better each year, a bit more tolerant to the weather so they can stay malleable and grip the roads a little bit better.
The Alberta Motor Association is a big proponent of winter tires.
It does give you better stopping power on ice, 15 meters to be exact, which is about 3 car lengths. So that's going to be the difference between getting to work safely or getting home safely or getting into an accident.
Brandon Clausen says AMA has seen a reduction in the number of calls for vehicles sliding into curbs. He believes it's due to more people using winter tires. However, he cautions drivers to still drive to road conditions.
Winter tires don't make you invincible, so we still really want to encourage, you still have to drive to road conditions, especially on the highways where, it may say 100 kilometers an hour, but it's not safe to do 100 kilometers an hour.
In Canada, winter tires are mandatory in Quebec and on designated BC highways. When asked if the Alberta government would follow suit, Transportation Minister Devin Dreeshen says, "We trust Albertans to make the right call on their own vehicles. We encourage proper winter or all-weather tires, but we're not pursuing a province-wide mandate." Nisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
Just ahead, Case Closed. We bring in the 5th and final part of our new historic crime case series, Crime Tapes.
I believe she saw pieces of it. I don't think she saw everything that happened, but I think she saw clips.
Good evening, folks. After a couple centimeters of snow today, that snow starts melting tomorrow and will be gone by the end of the weekend as a warming trend kicks in close to double digits by Monday. Full forecast in a couple minutes.
Welcome back. Tonight marks the last chapter in our new series from veteran reporter David Owasik, looking at historic criminal cases. In part 5 of the Crime Tapes, we find out what happened after Michael White was found guilty in the killing of his pregnant wife, Leanna.
every piece of potential evidence becomes an exhibit at a murder trial, especially one in front of a jury. That's what voir dire hearings are meant to decide, the so-called trial within a trial to determine admissibility of certain exhibits or statements. And so it was with Michael White's murder trial. After he was found guilty and just before his parole eligibility was decided at sentencing, we revealed a claim that someone close to the case might have witnessed Leanna White's murder. The chapter the jury didn't get to hear on the crime tapes.
Ashley White, the young daughter of Leanna White, may have witnessed some of her mother's murder.
That is according to her grandmother in court documents that were not allowed at Michael White's trial. Still, however, the jury found him guilty of murder. And tonight, we have a closer look at those heart-wrenching details involving young Ashley. Here's David Owasik.
Maureen Kelly tells reporters that she believes her granddaughter Ashley may have been there when her dad murdered her mother.
Yes.
You believe she witnessed some of
I
what
believe she saw pieces of it. I don't think she saw everything that happened, but I think she saw clips.
Statements not allowed to be heard by the jury seem to back up her beliefs. Little Ashley made many comments to Maureen and family friends. Among them, "Did you see the blood on Mommy's neck?" as she motioned from her own neck downward. After seeing a man who was a family friend cutting buns with a knife, the little girl once stated, "She'd have to go and sleep in the leaves with my mommy." And upon driving past the spot where her mother's body was discovered, 3-year-old Ashley told a family friend, "I've been here. My daddy took me here." She also told Maureen Kelly, "Grandma, did you see blood on the towels in the bathroom?" Maureen Kelly also stated Ashley said to her, lying in bed, and she heard a noise and she got up and it was Mommy on the floor.
The alleged statements of young Ashley were not needed for the Crown to get its murder conviction against her father. After the jury's guilty verdict, Michael White tried to take his own life at the remand center. He was stitched up for 70 slash wounds to his wrists and neck, and he was then put on suicide watch, awaiting his sentencing hearing.
Michael White faced a judge today and was told he must wait 17 years before he gets a chance at parole. David Owasik was in the courtroom for the decision and joins us with reaction tonight to the final phase of court proceedings against the man who murdered his pregnant wife, Leanna. David?
Carrie, Michael White simply nodded his head when he heard that 17 years must pass before he sees his first parole eligibility.
Mike, anything to say about the decision? No comment? Michael White would not remain in protective custody forever, nor would he remain in Alberta to serve out his sentence. His term of parole ineligibility of 17 years finally ended in 2023. He was released in Ontario, and White has maintained his innocence in the murder of his pregnant wife, Leanna White. I'm David Owasik, and that concludes this story from the vaults of the crime tapes.
Art that incorporates 30 different Alberta-grown items is on display at Farm Fair International. The piece includes everything from lentils and peas to wheat and canola, all donated by local organizations and farmers. The artist behind the work says this is the first mural of its kind outside of Australia and the most unique project that she's ever worked on.
Think about color. How do we make this vibrant, considering I don't get to use man-made materials? Red lentils is great, and so it pushed the boundaries of how I work as an artist.
Farm Fair is happening at the Edmonton Expo Center and runs until 7 p.m. tomorrow. You can find the mural in the hallway near the food court. After the break, brick by brick, we introduce you to a local man who's created a Lego city. You've got to see to believe.
We can't continue growing at this pace. We need to either get a bigger space or downsize our collection. And we decided to get a bigger space.
Coming up Monday on Your Morning, how to offer support if someone you know is going through divorce, and why you might want to consider adopting a senior pet. We'll see you on Monday.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. Temperatures hovered around -2 through the afternoon hours here in Edmonton, and after picking up a couple centimeters of snow in the morning, it kind of broke for a bit, and then you had some heavier pockets of snow in parts of the area through the afternoon hours. As we move through the overnight, though, this snow is quickly, well, not quickly, but it's slowly moving its way off into east central Alberta and evacuating the Edmonton area. We'll be under cloudy skies tomorrow morning, then a mix of sun and cloud through tomorrow afternoon. So there will be some sunny breaks tomorrow. Temperatures 2 or 3 degrees above zero, and then somewhere in the 5-6 degree range for a daytime high on Sunday. A lot of the warmer air that's going to start to get shoved in here through the weekend, a lot of that will go towards melting the snow. Once the snow is gone, then we should see temperatures rise fairly rapidly. Out ahead of that low pressure system Sunday morning, you've got some showers, not snow, but some rain in northwestern Alberta, potentially some patchy freezing rain, depending on the timing of that. So let's keep an eye on that. Looks like this all stays north of the Edmonton area, and we'll be under partly cloudy skies through the afternoon with a nice kick of warm air out ahead of that low pressure system that really should see the warmest temperatures hit the Edmonton area on Monday. I think somewhere around 6 degrees on Sunday, but 9 to maybe as warm as 11 on Monday. -9 in Fort McMurray tomorrow morning. Should be a handful of degrees below zero. Red Deer here in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, -3 into Jasper after hitting 9 for a high today. -3 in Fort McMurray. It'd be 2 to 4 degrees below zero as well. Lac La Biche, Cold Lake, handful of degrees above zero for Grand Prairie, Whitecourt, Edson, and Jasper. Should be in the 4 or 5 degree range in Red Deer, but on the other side of zero by a couple of degrees in Lloydminster. So 2 or 3 degrees, cloudy in the morning, some sunny breaks in the afternoon. It does get a little breezy. Gusts will be up around 30 kilometers per hour Sunday, Monday, but that's helping to draw in some of that warmer air. 6-ish on Sunday, 9 to 11 for a daytime high Monday, and Remembrance Day Tuesday up to 7 degrees in the afternoon. Long-range forecast keeps those above average temperatures right through Thursday, Friday of next week. That is your forecast.
Well, the Edmonton area is constantly growing, and tonight a miniature city within the city appears to be growing just as rapidly. CTV's Matt Woodman visits Brickmanton, a sprawling metropolis built entirely out of Lego.
This is my Lego room.
The first time we met Lego YouTuber Jordan Forsythe, better known as Brixie, it was 2021. Since then, his Lego city and collection have outgrown his basement.
This is like, man, what are we going to do? We can't continue growing at this pace. We need to either get a bigger space or downsize our collection. And we decided to get a bigger space.
Welcome to the new Brickmanton.
I definitely won't be growing out of this place.
Brickmanton spans 75 square meters, includes millions of pieces and countless minifigs.
I don't know what the population is. Lost count a long time ago.
He and his wife started building Lego 10 years ago with a Star Wars set. Since then, their collection has grown to roughly 1,500 sets.
It snowballed pretty quickly, and as soon as we bought our first modular building, I knew that one day I would be building a Lego city.
He never imagined Brickmanton would take over an entire studio. There's a downtown core, a beach, harbor, and train yard, a campground, zoo, and an amusement park.
Going a little fast.
And as many details inside as there are out.
So all the buildings have an interior, and we can pop the floors apart, take the roofs off.
He's managed to turn his passion into a paycheck. His YouTube channel took off in 2020, allowing him and his wife to quit their jobs and focus on Lego full-time. It's a closed studio, but you can see everything online.
I'm currently working on some massive mountains which will go in the center of the city.
He finds building therapeutic, although it can become repetitive, layering brick after brick. But there's always something different to work on, which keeps it fresh.
It is so much fun just building Lego every day and making videos about it.
Like much of the world, even Brickmanton isn't immune to American tariffs. Lego, a Danish company, is no longer shipping certain pieces to North America. Brixie says for the most part, the pieces he needs are still available.
They still have what they call the best sellers available to Canadians, and that's mainly what we use within our city. But for sure, they definitely took a lot of the pieces away off their website.
So Brixie keeps building, and Brickmanton keeps growing. Matt Woodman, CTV News, Edmonton.
Well, it looks like mountains are the next addition to Brickmanton. I cannot wait to see when Brixie decides to add West Brickmanton Mall. Alrighty, folks, that's all from us on this Friday night. Thanks for wrapping up your week with us here on CTV Edmonton. We hope you all have a great weekend. I'll be back with you here on Monday night. Same time, same place. Until then, take care and bye for now.